We welcome you back to Longhorn Weekly. Our special guest is University of Texas Athletics Director Steve Patterson. On to the NCAA issues, and there's some real hot-button topics for folks. NCAA governance, the unionization of student athletes, the prospect of paying student athletes. I just read a story the other day about the Ed O'Bannon case that's taken its turns. What are your thoughts on where things are with the NCAA? Not necessarily and specifically related to University of Texas, but in college athletics overall.
Well, there's a lot of people that have worked very hard to try to find a way for the more highly resourced 5 conferences to have more flexibility to provide the kind of student services we want to be able to provide to our students. You know, the possibility of that getting approved wanes and waxes on any particular week. I think we've absolutely got to find a way for those conferences to be able to operate with some more flexibility. I know there's concerns amongst some of the smaller schools and smaller conferences about that, but that's really, I think, where most of the legal discussions are around those conferences. And if we don't find a way to do that within the NCAA framework, I think there's growing sentiment that those conferences may have to find a way to do it outside. And so I'm hopeful we can find it inside, but if we can't, you know, by the time we get to August and the vote on that, if we don't get to where we need to get to, then I think those conferences are going to have to start to look at other alternatives. In terms of unionization and what's going on at Northwestern, I thought it was smart lawyering. You pick a private school. You have a very restricted class of only football, full scholarship student athletes, not walk-ons, not partial scholarships, not student athletes on the other teams. You know, so anytime you can define a discussion very narrowly, you can usually define it to come out, the discussion around it or the debate around it to come out in your favor.
Fit your parameters.
Yeah, to fit your, to where you want to try to get. So you look at what happened there. You go in front of the NLRB. The NLRB is set up as a place for unions and management or ownership to have their disputes. If you go in front of them as the plaintiff, you're presumed to be an employee. If you walk in there and you ask a student athlete, well, did they tell you where to show up? Yeah. Did they tell you what to wear? Yeah. Did they tell you what to do? Yeah. Did you get something for doing that? It's a tough presumption to rebut if you're Northwestern. You know, the reality is if you want to be an employee, your dispute is not with the NCAA or Northwestern. Your dispute is with Roger Goodell and the NFL owners and the NFL Players Association. If you want to come out of high school and go play pro football or go play pro basketball, God bless you. Go ahead. That's where you should be.
Right to earn a living, earn a wage.
Knock yourself out. If you want to come someplace and get an education and play a sport that you love and have a great experience and have your college education partially or all paid for, then come here. And when I look at the list of issues that were being complained about at Northwestern, at the University of Texas, we address all those, but one, and that is the right to monetize somebody's image because it's not allowed under NCAA rules, and quite frankly, I think would tilt the playing field unfairly in different areas. You know, if we have to go out and compete for helping student athletes monetize their image, I got a pretty good idea what school might be pretty good at that. But I don't think it's very good for the system as a whole. And so I don't support unionization. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's going to lead to student athletes having their benefits taxed. They have to pay union dues. And really all you're doing is benefiting the 0.5% at the very top who might have a chance at a career of 4 years or less in the major leagues, the various sports, and disadvantage the 99.5% who are trying to come here, go to school, get a degree, and come out with a better outcome than they otherwise would have had.